My name is Erin Palumbo, and I am a textile design master's graduate specializing in knit. My final thesis project, Memory Through Fiber, is a collection of skillfully and thoughtfully crafted heirloom knitted garments for babies. Each piece is intended to be treasured and passed down from one generation to the next. This holistic approach of making considers the complete life cycle of a garment, which in turn produces a product that will withstand the test of time. Much like my ancestors, I strive to preserve skilled craft, value, and my own culture through textiles. Family heirlooms provide us with not only a physical connection to the past, but an emotional and spiritual connection to our community. Textiles in particular have the ability to carry memories, and these memories can act as a historical record of family history. For many Jewish people, family heirlooms help to establish a connection to those who came before us and play a crucial role in the construction of Jewish identity on the basis of ancestry. This thesis collection stems from not only a desire to rediscover an affinity for handmade objects, but to inspire new ways of making by observing the craft work of Eastern European women who passed these skills down to one another with intention. While on a recent visit to my childhood home, I had uncovered several knit items preserved in plastic. Much to my surprise, the knitted garments had been created by my grandmother years before. Although I had spent much of my childhood with my grandmother, I was unaware of her immense skills. This, in conjunction with my textile graduate studies, has been the catalyst for this knit collection that emphasizes the value of craft from both an ethical and a moral standpoint. With the inspiration and motive for this thesis collection clearly established, the next step in development was to create overarching design principles for the entire collection to follow. This involved the creation of a mood board inspired by the ephemeral nature of infanthood, in which images of light patterns and rainbow refractions were referenced. Much like these shadows casted by light or rainbow refractions that can only be seen for short periods of time at specific points of the day, infanthood is special yet transient. These images would later be explored through meandering cabling structures and point-tell holes that allow light to pass through, as well as over-dyeing techniques with natural dyes to mimic rainbow color patterns. The objective of this collection encompassed designing a cohesive set of garments that visually related to one another. These garments, beautifully designed and skillfully constructed, needed to possess functional properties pertaining to infants, such as retaining warmth or expelling heat, uncomplicated to put on and take off, and easy to clean in a standard washer and dryer. This resulted in the conceptualization of several garments, 2 variations of cardigans, a pair of leggings, 2 hats, 2 pairs of mittens, an overall onesie, and a blanket, all marketed for babies between newborn to 1 year of age. In order to build a cohesive visual narrative, it was important to develop several knit patterns to be utilized across the collection. Unique decorative patterns were developed to add an additional layer of dimensionality to the knit fabric that would later be dyed. Cables were combined with point-tell holes to create an intricate design depicting flowers with meandering stems throughout the wrap cardigan, creating surface pattern through structure. Likewise, a variation of a lynx pattern resembling a grid was programmed to be used throughout the surface of the open front cardigan. Furthermore, it was necessary to use natural fibers throughout this collection for a multitude of reasons. Natural fibers are breathable, hypoallergenic, and possess antibacterial characteristics. In the case of this collection, 100% mercerized extra-fine merino wool and 100% organically grown cotton were sourced due to their functional properties, hand feel, and the fact that both are marketed as machine washable, making them ideal choices for baby clothes. Upon finalizing the intended garment plans, flat paper patterns were drafted for each garment. These final measurements were instrumental in calculating the correct gauge for the intended collection. Once gauge had been calculated, several programs based on the paper and patterns were developed to be knit on our 10-gauge Shimaseki industrial knitting machine, and thus numerous iterations were carried out. After coming off of the knitting machine, the knit pieces needed to be blocked. Blocking is one of the most transformative processes in knitting because fibers will undergo profound changes when exposed to moisture and heat. Therefore, a knit project is never truly finished until it has been blocked. When completely dried, the knits were unpinned and any remaining yarn ends were woven in on the wrong side of the fabric. The summer before the production of this thesis project, my mother and I started a natural dye garden from seedlings at my childhood home. Seeds for the garden were purchased online well in advance. Of these seeds included Japanese indigo, which would be used primarily for this thesis project, as well as woad, madder rose, coreopsis, and black Hopi sunflower. By September, the Japanese indigo was ready to be harvested. Japanese indigo can be fermented into powdered pigment that can be used to start an indigo vat. For this thesis project, 3 basic primaries would be implemented to derive all colors for the collection. The dye matter included indigo for a light blue, avocado skins and pits for a muted pink-red, and dried weld for a bright yellow. Secondary colors such as green, orange, and purple would be generated by overdying. This would ensure that all colors in the collection would be consistent and stay clean. There are multiple methods for extracting pigment from dye stuff. In this instance, the avocado skins and pits, as well as the dried weld, were simmered in large pots on the stove for an hour at simmering point to extract their color. Likewise, an organic sugar vat or 1-2-3 vat recipe was utilized to dye the fresh indigo powder. The completed collection was exhibited on December 10, 2021 at the Design Center as part of the MS Textile Design Thesis Fall Show. The final knit garments were suspended at various levels in front of a white gallery wall. It was important to not hang the pieces flush to the wall due to their 3-dimensionality. Preliminary work such as sketchbook pages, ideation swatches, and dye samples were included in the final gallery layout accompanying the garments.